Hello everyone. In last video, we have discussed about the accessory orals of the flower which include calyx and corolla. The individual member of calyx is sepal while the individual member of corolla is petal. Both these orals are involved in protection and attraction of bird and insect for pollination, but they do not take direct part in the sexual reproduction process. So they may called as non-essential orals. Okay, and in this lecture we will going to see one more important concept related to calyx and corolla, that is aestivation. Aestivation is generally defined as mode of arrangement of sepals and petals in a floral bud. Okay, so it is nothing but the study of arrangement of sepal and petal in a floral bud. Okay, and according to the arrangement of these sepals and petal, there are four different type of aestivation. Sometimes may student get confused in between different terms like aestivation, phyllotaxy, venation. Okay, venation is nothing but the arrangement of veins in the lamina of the leaves. While in case of phyllotaxy, there is a different type of arrangement of leaves on the main axis or on the stem. While now aestivation is nothing but the arrangement of sepals and petal in a flower. Okay. On the basis of this, there are four different types of flower as number one, valvate aestivation. Number two, twisted aestivation. Number three, imbricate activation, and vexillary activation. In this video, I am going to discuss about all four type of activation which is found in the flower. Okay. Now, in case of valvate activation, if we draw a floral diagram, we know that in floral diagram for sepals we show this pointed structure, and if we want to draw petals we show convex structure. Okay. Now if I'm drawing a flower with 5 sepals, then you can see here, if the flower have valvate type of activation, then both the margin of each sepal remain close to one another, or maybe they are associated but they do not overlap with one another. Okay, so in this case margin of sepal or petal remain close to one another but do not overlap. And a well-known example of this type of activation is calotropis. Okay, you can find this type of activation in calotropis flower. Okay, and what is the valvate? Here, each sepal, okay, show two margins which is close to the adjacent sepals, but they do not overlap with the margin of adjacent sepal. Now, in case of twisted activation, you can see this type of arrangement. Okay, that means each margin of the sepal is outward. Okay, that means one margin of sepal is outward while another margin of sepal is inward. And when flower shows such type of arrangement of sepal or petal, it is called as twisted activation. Okay. Now here you can see, if we consider this sepal, one of the margin of the sepal is inward and overlapped by the margin of adjacent sepal, while Another margin of this sepal is outward and it overlapping the margin of this sepal. Okay, same thing for all other sepals. Each sepal show one outward margin and other inward margin. So characteristic feature of twisted type of aestivation is one margin is inward, okay, which is overlapped by the margin of adjacent sepal, while the other margin is outward, which overlap the margin of adjacent sepal. Okay, and a well-known example of this type of aestivation is found in China rose. If we open or if we observe the flower of China rose plant, in that case you can see this type of arrangement of sepals and petal. Each sepal show one outward margin and one inward margin. Okay, one overlapped margin while other margin is overlapping. Okay, now the third type of aestivation is imbricate aestivation. In this type of aestivation, one margin of the flower is completely inward. That means both the end of this sepal, okay, show inward margins. Then you can see here one of the margin or one of the sepal have both the margin which is outward Yes. So this type of arrangement found in the imbricate type of aestivation, one of the sepals show both the margin inward, while out of five, one sepal show both the margin outward. All other sepals show one margin inward and one margin outward. Okay, same case for these two. One margin is inward while the other margin is outward. Okay, this is in, this is out. Same case for this. But out of the five sepals, one sepal show both the margin inward while one sepal show both the margin outward. And this type of arrangement is called as imbricate. We can write one sepal inward, both the margin is inward, then one sepal outward, okay, both the margins are outward, while remaining show one margin inward and other margin outward. Okay, and example of this type of aestivation is Cassie. Remember that this is the sepal which show both the margin overlapped by adjacent margin. Okay, and this is the sepal which show both the margin which is overlapping the margin of adjacent sepal, while all other sepals show arrangement like twisted aestivation in which one margin is inward while the other margin is outward. Now, last example of aestivation or last type of aestivation is vexillary. It is quite different from remaining three type of aestivation in which the corolla get butterfly shaped. Okay, that means petal get a special kind of shape in this type of aestivation. One of the petal become enlarged in size. Okay, I am drawing petal here, so convex structure. Okay, if we want to draw sepal in that, we have to show these pointed structures. But as I am drawing petal, I am showing this convex structure. So one of the petal get enlarged in size and become the curve structure, and this petal is called standard. Then two petals then form wing-like structures, and they are called as wings. And remaining two petals, which are small in size, they are present at this position, and these petals may be connected with one another by short fragment, and these petals are called kill. Okay, these two petals are called kill. They form boat shape structure, and this type of arrangement of the petal of corolla is called vexillary. Okay, in this case, one big petal is called as standard, then two small lateral petals are called wings, while kill are boat shaped structure produced by two small petals. They may get connected at a one point or a same point. Okay, and example of vexillary type of aestivation is found in pea plants and bean plant flowers. Okay, remember that standard is the largest petal in this type of flower, which overlapping the ends of wings, while wings again overlap the keel. Okay, and keel is the smallest petal which form boat shaped structure. This is the butterfly type of structure, which is nothing but the vexillary aestivation. In this way, in the above or in this video, I discuss four different type of aestivation in detail. Okay, number one, valvate, in which the end of the or margin of the sepal remain close to one another, but they do not overlap. In case of twisted aestivation, one margin of the sepal remain inward and one margin remain outward. Same case for all the sepals present in the flower. In case of imbricate, one of the sepals show both the margin inward and other sepal show both the margin outward. All other remaining sepals show twisted type of arrangement. While in case of vexillary, the flower get butterfly shape. Okay, and petal, one of the petal called standard, then two lateral petals called wings, and keel means the two small petals which are connected to one another that form boat shaped structures. Okay, so this is all about the aestivation which is found in the flowers. Thank you.